Okay, so what is perfect hoof growth? I'm going to show you here today, and this is the same mare that I had in my video, oh geez, several years ago, when my YouTube channel was The Barefooted Horse, and I had a video up on there, Barefooted Horse and Maintenance Trim. And the reason why I took that video down was because of I changed my adjusted the ways that I trim horses nowadays. Not a whole lot different, but there is a difference, so I didn't want to leave any kind of false information up there. So this, this mare now is 17 now, and she's been out of shoes somewhere around 10 years, and this horse came out of shoes and went barefoot immediately. I rode her 8 miles out of shoes, and this is the sad reality to all this stuff about barefoot. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. Here in the northeastern United States, the percentages of horses that will do this and do it without any trouble is about 25%, and that's the honest to God truth. For one thing, we grow a lot of we have a lot of good grass. We have a pretty reasonable rainfall, and this year the rainfall has been more than normal. So I'm going to show you. This is 3 weeks now. This is 3 weeks since she's been trimmed. Now, I'm going to take you down below. I'm going to show you what a normal hoof growth pattern should be, and how much this horse is growing in 3 weeks. This is why this mare that's in the pen has had that serious trouble, because she was at 6 weeks. She was just about due for a trim. She was probably 5.5 weeks. See, and she grows, that mare that's in the pen with that bad abscess leading to injury, grows a lot of hoof like this horse does. She's healthy, and that's the thing. If your horse doesn't produce a normal healthy growth pattern, your horse isn't healthy. That's it. The big deal about it is what exactly isn't healthy about that horse. See, luckily, I consider myself kind of lucky because I'm actually batting 50% here. So out of 6 horses, I got 3 that are great barefoot, and I got 3 that have other problems. And all 3 of those horses that have problems are all different. They all have hoof problems, but they all have different health issues. So, when people say that, oh, try this, try that. The thing is, it doesn't work. It might work for your horse. There's so many different issues and so many different varying degrees of laminitis and founder, and even one of the other horses I have here, which is typical, what would be a typical horse looking to founder. He's a Morab, half Morgan, half Arab, and Morgans are prone to founder, up this way anyways. He has all the clinical signs. He's overweight, he's crusty neck, but I trimmed that horse. You ride him down the road, not a hitch. Same thing with this horse too, never a hitch. Trimmer and rider, it wouldn't make no difference. See, that's the difference between a healthy horse and an unhealthy horse. And the thing is, what do you do with the unhealthy ones? And I'm going to show you a scar on this horse's hoof too. So hold on here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show you here is this scar right here. See this scar? That starts at the coronary band and it goes all the way down. But you see it never breaks out here, and you'll see how much hoof growth. But she's at 3 weeks, and if I let this continue any farther, this will start to break away here. This is, and something, this is how nil I was and lack of knowledge back when I first started doing this. I didn't have the knowledge to even notice that. That's how much I knew about horses back then. You know, training wise, hoof trimming wise, everything. I just didn't know. I never even noticed. I don't even know when it was that I actually noticed that. But see, so she's had that for, I mean, I've, out of the 17 years that she is, I've owned her for 13 and a half, or excuse me, 14 and a half years. I don't know when or where that scar ever started, but it stays fine like that, and I'll show you how much hoof growth she has and why this will become a problem if I leave this much longer, and that's why she's getting trimmed at 3 weeks. See, this is what I would call perfect growth pattern, other than the fact that you know, she could have a little bit thicker hoof wall. I've seen horses that have had thicker hoof walls. That doesn't necessarily make them more sound, but you'll see where the bowl ends right there. But I want you to look at the growth pattern. The growth pattern is from here back to here. It's even. See, this horse is using the whole back 3/4 of its hoof and breaking over nice here. See, the hoof wall is short, breaking over nice. That's perfect hoof growth. It's even from here to here. This horse has good healthy frogs. So it's easy to show you perfection, but you know what people do with a lot of other horses that aren't perfect is a big question. But the other thing I want to show you, see the flow of this bowl. See, it comes perfect. Here it is here. It flows perfect right out to here, all the way around. No lumps or bumps. See, it flows here, it flows here. See, that's what I talk about when I talk about perfect flow to the bowl. See, you know, perhaps that's a better view for you. But I'll trim her and show you what it looks like when I'm done. But see, 3 weeks, she needs to be trimmed. I mean, she's got the thickness of a shoe there in hoof growth. So if I leave that too long, she's already chipped a tiny bit there, but it will start to bust out a lot worse. So there you go. Simple. Couple minutes, trim her off, and you can see where, see, she has a wee bit of separation here. That's only because she went 3 weeks. She should have never went 3 weeks. If you got you know, the thickness of a horseshoe there, that's too much for a barefooted horse. So I mean, you know, she hasn't been being ridden down the road, but when I'm done with this horse, I could ride it down the road easily, instantly, right after trim. Never a flinch or anything. But so, you know, that tiny bit there. And that's why I said, some of you people, you think that 6 weeks is normal. It's not. If I let this horse go 6 weeks, you know how much more separation I'd have? And that was only 3 weeks. This is a healthy horse. They need to be maintained, either riding and putting some miles on that horse and wearing that hoof down, or trimming them, one or the other. So there you have it. It's pretty easy to show you healthy, but not healthy. And the other thing I wanted to say is, see, when I talk about a hoof that grows down, see, that hoof was growing down, not forward. This was not shot forward at all. That's perfect hoof growth. If that hoof is growing forward, it's not correct. It certainly could be because of the way it was trimmed, and the toe was never short enough to get it to a point where it actually does grow down. And sure, this horse would grow forward eventually if I left her without being trimmed for too long. So if you you know, if you skip out on a trim and your farrier doesn't push that back to where it actually needs, then you're going to end up with a horse that starts growing forward again. But if your farrier is pushing that back and keeping that nice round shape, then your his hoof should grow down. Even amount of growth from here to here and growing down without this growing forward. So the other thing I'll do for you real quickly is show your hind foot. Growth pattern the same, right? See, nothing out at the toe. The other thing I want you to notice is look how much more round this hoof is. That's one thing I'm doing a lot different than back in the maintenance trim. See, there's no need for these horses to have pointed toes. See, they're not quite as round as the front, but it's still very round.